disclaimer, I am not a Blur fan, so I don't really feel like I have the right to be talking about this, because I just kind of found it after some, you know, as you find any piece of news. But I just feel like this really needs to be talked about, because it's just completely been ignored by the media. Like, most of these allegations, the 99% of the time the media does not report on them, because I guess the people involved, especially if they are famous, they do a really good job of hiding it. Like, it's not so much for actors, but especially I've noticed musicians or indie musicians, they do a good job of like hiding these allegations, which I'm not quite sure how, but because there's really a lot of evidence here that I feel like I need to get out there and speak out to many people as I can, as someone with a digital platform and the ability to speak and also spend numerous hours online, when you probably shouldn't. But today is a great day to be posting this video, and obviously I deliberately chose to post this video when Blur's new album came out, which is, I'm pretty sure it's called The Ballad of Darren or something. See, I'm not even that much of a fan. I don't even know what it's called. If you hear that rumbling, that's my dad. He has a motorbike. I know, cool. So yeah, I just feel like there really needs to be more people that need to know about this. So what a better time than when the album comes out, which is probably going to anger a lot of people and just be like, oh, you just want attention, which I completely agree with. But I just believe that there's just no, I can't just like leave it. What better time is there than now to talk about this? So that's why I'm doing it. So I read Graham Coxon's memoir a while ago, like not even that long ago, probably at the start of this year. And it was, I remember reading it, obviously I'm not a huge Blur fan, so I was just like, oh, this sounds interesting. I like the front cover, it was very arty. And so I learnt about all his like illustrations, and now I'm just finding out about everything that's people have said about him. I obviously it's changed my perspective of him completely, and now I know that all of the stuff in that book was absolute rubbish. No wonder people make up half the stuff in their memoirs, because I'm pretty sure he made up like every single thing. Or maybe not every single thing, but it's basically not what other people close to him are talking about, or formerly close to him. So from what I remember, I'm obviously going to get my laptop out and read out some of the allegations, but off the top of my head, that Graham Coxon has on numerous occasions just like apparently raped a young girl. Yeah, I know I can't say the R word on YouTube for some stupid reason, but I'm going to say it. And yeah, basically drugged her and raped her while she was unconscious. He has communicated inappropriately with numerous fans, who's probably been like underage, or maybe they weren't, but it's still wrong for someone with a huge age gap to take advantage of his fans. So he's been like, I don't know if he's been doing it recently or if he's still doing it, but he is just, a lot of fans, especially in Asia, have like spoken out. Thanks to, and obviously the only reason why I'm getting any of this information is thanks to Room 8's Tumblr, or that gobshite from Blur. I don't really know too much about Tumblr, but I found that account, and they had this is all the information is thanks to them for reporting on it. So thank you so much to that person or people who are running that account, because that's the only way all of us would ever know about this. So all the credit goes to them. I have absolutely no input in it other than making this video. Just wanted to put that out there. So Room 8 has published a series of like screenshots of the messages that people have been sent by him, and people have also wrote down their stories of personal things that happened between them, and which are mostly like obviously completely disgusting and inappropriate. And he should be in jail because he raped a girl. And yeah, so all this stuff that I can't believe has not even been reported on, because these are very serious, obviously, allegations. So I'm going to do the best that I can to share them with you, and hopefully, I'm not thinking that my video is going to change everything, but it will at least shed some light about what's happening. So, I'm going to make a cheese toastie, and then I'll be back because I'm hungry. So, feel free to get what you need. This probably isn't the most appropriate video for that sort of thing, but if you want to just take a break and do whatever you need to do, and then we'll come back and talk about it. As we know, like Julian Casablancas, Maddie Healy, Adam Levine, obviously the people that come to mind, the male rock stars who have DM'd young girls, may or may not have been appropriate, but we're talking about Graham Coxon here, so this is definitely inappropriate. So I think this is important because DMs are very relevant and people are always talking about them, so I'll be reading them out. But I won't just obviously be reading it word to word. It has been almost a year, so this is, I guess, the person who has made the page. It's been almost a year since the allegations against Graham became out. However, it must be noted that they existed well before Britpop Abuse made an account on Instagram. So this, she's from Mexico. This person says, I had a friend who was hurt by Graham. I haven't spoken to her in years and she still doesn't talk about it. I witnessed it. This was early 2010s. Allegations came out shortly up from a close friend I trusted, who was close to him, that he was allegedly DMing girls his, quote, his daughter's age. She only told our friend group that I'm aware of. I didn't want to believe it at the time, but after seeing his behaviour on Twitter and hearing that allegation, I had to take a break from the fandom for a couple of years. When I came back, my old friends caught me up on everything that had happened. They said something really bad happened vaguely, and Graham was giving his socials over to management or something. I saw he had announced he was having or had kids with Essie, who is his ex-wife. And she has a lot to say on the matter as well, so I'll go into it later in the video. So it has some screenshots of messages exchanged. I'm guessing it from what it looks like. It looks like WhatsApp. And his, not that that's important, but his username is Tin Hat. So, yeah, that's very weird, but he is, yeah, this very inappropriate person. Excuse me. So, Graham says, she doesn't know about my private life, and then the girl says, not much. Graham says, what does she know? And the girl replies, she knows that you have a teenage daughter, what else does she have to know? And then Graham says, 2 other persons. And the girl says, and those persons are ... Graham says, I don't really want to mention those names when I'm with you. So it's just kind of like this really, obviously, really straight up gross exchanges between someone who are strangers. But obviously we don't see them as strangers because they are like people we look up to and stuff. Tin Hat says, yeah, that's just ridiculous not saying his name. But then they keep going, and then Graham says, you fancy someone in the band? She says, yes. He says, really, how much? She says, a lot. And then he replies, I'll get jelly, you know. So I'm guessing jelly means jealous. What time is out there? She replies, will you? Why, it's 12:41 a.m. So then there is more messages. He says, I fancied someone in Argentina. And at the airport, the restaurant, the hotel, and the gig. She then says, obviously, I'm jelly now. And then he obviously gives out, as we know, DMs like way too much information. As we've seen with Colleen Ballinger is a great example. I won't go too much into it, but he's just doing the same thing, giving personal details about his family and his marriage that is just not appropriate, shouldn't be tolerated. And this poor person is obviously thinking that they are special because they received these messages. I'm guessing he's talking about his wife here, his ex-wife. Fuck her, to be honest. I do my best and she doesn't give a fuck. But whatever. Sorry for saying this to you. I'm sorry for leaving you this block. I can't read that these days. So then there are two girls, Mexican girls called, I hope I'm saying this right, Murcia and Michelle. So Graham, the person that reached out to room 8, said that Graham spends time with her when he goes to Mexico. Graham uses Murcia to control Michelle. He said he would marry her if the age gap wouldn't look so bad. And a lot's been known, I guess the media has reported on, and even Graham himself. I remember reading his book, he mentioned that he was sober and he went to rehab and all that. Now I'm learning that all of that was false, because Graham was not sober and was photographed drunk in public. So he recently actually confirmed it in an interview that he was not sober until around 2016. So I think a lot of problems with these, like, it's fine to have addiction, like that's a common thing. I'm not bashing people over that, but he just is not really telling the truth and stuff, because people are seeing that a lot of stuff is coming out that he is not mentioned. So I don't know whether they still talk to him now, because these allegations were posted a little while back. But it says as of that time, Murcia and Scarlett still talk to Graham. And they also defended him when the allegations happened. So yeah, just these poor girls, they don't even know like what's happening to them. And how, yeah, it's unbelievable. So, in his memoir, Verse Chorus Monster, very stupid name, the press obviously didn't know what he was actually talking about. He said there was a dark time in his life, and then under it, Room 8 wrote, dark times, meaning being filmed in a hotel room with a fan who he bought a stuffed Pokemon for, that then spread like wildfire across the fandom, so much so his older daughter had to private her TikTok to get fans to stop spamming her with, why is your dad cheating with someone who is almost your same age? There, I fixed it, end quote. So I think since Blur's new album, they released a song called The Narcissist. I think the real narcissist is obviously Graham. Because as someone posted, male narcissists are misogynist. They desperately seek women, yet inwardly despise them. These men are totally turned on by extreme sexuality, yet are perversely disgusted by attractive female attributes, believing women are promiscuous, sexually manipulative, and attention-seeking. The male narcissist will often play out a deep subconscious mother revenge by running his female partner into the ground. So I'm currently seeing what looks to be an explicit image. Like, I'm not seeing the private part or anything, but judged by the photo, it is something that I just feel horrible for the fans who are probably going to be watching this. But trust me, I've felt the exact same way as you, and it's really hard to deal with it. And I don't just want to like start lecturing people. You can like whoever you like, but yeah, the parasocial relationships thing, which is something we all go through. I'm currently in one. Like, I'm not just saying, oh, I've never done that. It's got nothing to do with me. Like, this affects everyone. And so it's just really important that more people hear about it. So Essie has posted a lot of Instagrams, captions about sort of hinting at what she's going through. She has even put on her Instagram bio some certain like code, which Room 8 has discovered are actually just signalling that she doesn't, basically the way I understand is she has basically been not given, she's like the court system or whatever is not enabling her to speak or something. Like, she can't legally talk about it. So she has to continue. I could be totally wrong, but it's basically like a gag order. It's like that reminds me of the Let Her Speak campaign when in Australia, Grace Tame, who was groomed by her 16, she was 16 at the time, she was groomed by her maths teacher, and she couldn't, no one knew about her, that she was like, in Tasmania they had a law that was like, you can't speak about it, so she couldn't speak about what happened to her, and the media also reported that she had an affair with the teacher, but what really happened was he groomed her. So that's just sort of what I'm guessing this is sort of about. Like, it's like she can't really talk about it, which is probably why a lot of these exes of these like famous people who have their ex-partners have had a history of cheating or inappropriate relationships with fans. This is probably why they aren't speaking out, because when they do, it's obviously I'm trying to understand it, because I'm the type of person that's obviously like, why aren't they talking about it? And I used to get really annoyed, but obviously these people are private people. So the only reason people found out about Julian Casablancas's divorce was because he leaked those papers. Someone just leaked them. So the wife was not, I'm not going to try and get into too much Julian Casablancas stuff, because that's where it gets problematic. But based on what I heard from a source that may or may not be trusted, not sure, that someone just uploaded the divorce papers and published them. And that's the only reason why he revealed he was getting a divorce. So if that hadn't happened, we would just still think they were together or something. And what was I going to say? I really lose my train of thought. And so also, what was interesting about Julian was he went to see Jack White at a concert, and I remember looking at this account that actually was trying to like expose everything, and it kind of looked like a hate account, and I can totally see why it was treated that way, because it obviously was like intending to be a hate account towards Julian. And Julian, I'm pretty sure one of his reps reached out to the account and was like, you need to like shut up, otherwise we're gonna like take this to law courts or something, you know, like this is defamatory information or something like that. And but they mentioned that the only reason Julian Casablancas and Jack White met for a concert or whatever, because it's really surprising, like just randomly Jack White and Julian met up for a concert, was apparently Julian needed some advice from Jack White, who'd been in some divorces of his own, about like, yeah, what was happening. Like he was just trying to get advice from him on how to keep the divorce like private, no one know about it. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I could see, looking at what Essie is dealing with, I can probably see how obviously the abusive men in these relationships do a great job of trying to cover things up, because they have, in the end, they are the famous person, they get to make all the decisions. Apparently, the spouse is just the spouse. So I really highly commend her for speaking out, even on her Instagram. Like, she doesn't even have to be on social media, but the fact that she's openly talking about it is really, like, apparently Julian's ex-wife, again, this is just, again, an allegation, but she was actually posting about the divorce and what happened, because apparently she had social media. So if anyone can actually back this up and send me, like, screenshots or something, please do it, because obviously I don't know whether it's true or not, and it would be great if I got the confirmation, because someone said, oh, it's 100% real. She detailed everything that happened to her and why she divorced him or something. And so I guess she had also spoken out, but it's just really difficult for these. But when I tried to look at the posts, they'd been removed. So I never got to know whether it was actually true or not, because usually people will screenshot something and then post it, but I couldn't find any person like saying, posting, because usually, you know, when people post a statement, a fan will post it, you know, repost it, but I just couldn't find anything of that. Whereas in Essie, so I can't validate that claim that person made, but I just thought it was interesting to put out there. So because so the Room 8 has screenshotted Essie's post. So she just states it's she was posting because that day it was World Narcissistic Abuse Awareness Day. And she says, I'm sick and tired of predators, perverts, and pathological liars pervading everything that is good about this world, and I can't bear walking into a world where this still pervades. We all have to stand together, all genders, ethnicities, and demographics, to make this stop. And then she says, adds to all those survivors out there suffering, like, I stand with you, I've been there. So then there's more posts that she's made that kind of hint about what she's going through. I won't read too much on those because they're kind of just quotes and stuff. But they obviously, if we look at them, we might be able to guess at what it's about, who it's about. And it just seems like she's really going through a dark time, because she's like deleted posts and stuff. And the band, they're doing a great job of covering this up. I'm not standing with any of the other members because they are very aware that this is happening. But they have done fuck all to speak about it, and they're still reuniting, deciding to make a new album or whatever. Because Dave Rowntree, I only know his name because of what he did when he was asked about these allegations. Well, he wasn't asked, but he knew about them. Was he blocked the person making this Tumblr. He blocked the person. Absolutely no acknowledgement or anything. Just blocked. Like, don't want to deal with you, that kind of thing. Like, fuck off. It is just inexcusable that these other band members are completely ignoring these allegations. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, I get it. They don't want to be part of it. But the fact they know about, like, that's between him and the fans. But that's still wrong. You can't just, like, if the person is in your band, you still have to make sure, or at least, even if you don't really want anything to do with it, of course not. If I was in the band with that guy, but I would still be like, I'd at least say that, call him out on it and say that is wrong. I don't stand by that behaviour. So the fact that, and so Room 8 actually did a brilliant post speaking about this because they obviously mentioned that they were blocked. And then they said, this proves that if you go to a Blur show, they don't care about women's safety or men's safety. They don't care about the brave women who have spoken out and their allegations. They don't care. So if you go to their show, you're paying for a bunch of, mostly Graham, but a bunch of dickheads who are doing nothing about this, despite not being aware of it. So just think about that. I didn't mean to just get annoyed there, but it is a common thing. I've even heard about, like, I have to do a separate video on this. Obviously, I've mentioned Julian Casablancas. Again, I obviously like his music a lot with the Strokes. I'm not going to say adore his music because that's where it turns into an issue. But his other band, The Voids, from what I've heard, it's just their complete misogyny and behaviour towards women can't be excused. Like, I don't even know what's true, what's come out, but I found it interesting that Nick Valenci from The Strokes, his wife, Amanda de Cadenet, I think that's her name, I actually messaged her about this one back when I had Instagram, but I deleted my Instagram. But she was basically, I was listening to a podcast and she was like saying, women don't feel safe at shows. Like young girls, they might get sexually assaulted and whatever. And I was like, how the fuck can you speak on this when your husband is in a band with a lead singer who preys on young girls? How is that? How? Like, I know it's got, again, it's the same thing as Dave Rowntree. It's got nothing to do with him. She's just obviously has a connection to the band. But and also, the point I wanted to make was at the concert I went to sorry, I'm just making this so much about Julian Casablancas, but believe me, that's just like all I've been thinking about. I went to the Strokes concert in Sydney last year, and apparently Julian there was only underage girls were allowed to go backstage. The person handing out the tickets was only allowing underage girls to go backstage, and I read that on Reddit, and I was like, what the fuck? Like the security guard was just choosing like only a certain type of girl, not 30-year-olds, something-year-olds, I guess they knew that younger girls are probably going to be the ones who want to meet the Strokes the most, and I get that. But it was just really off, because when those girls like went backstage, one girl said that Julian was like, he wanted to fuck, like he was looking for a young girl to have sex with. And so when I read that, I was like terrified, because I was about to go to that show, and I was like, obviously you have that thought of what if he's gonna what if the security guard is going to choose me or something. Like, I was obviously really stupid for thinking that, like, what chance is that of that happening? But still, when you hear that, you get quite alarmed. But I didn't really want to tell my dad and my sister, who were going to the concert with me. So I said to my sister, there's a guy that's like giving out because I obviously don't want to let my dad and my sister like think that I know everything about this band, because they might like get really concerned about my mental health, which I totally understand, because I definitely go, as you can tell, I go too much into bands' personal lives, and that's where it ruins me for good. But then again, I feel like it's more important to know what's happening. At least you don't have to know everything, but to stay up to date on what's going on, because that's better than just living a fantasy that you've created in your head. So then again, I defend myself for choosing to look at this stuff, because it's out there. People are choosing to post it, so it's our job to look at it, review it, decide for ourselves. Obviously, we have different opinions, but some people might call this oversharing, blah, blah. But going back to my point, so I was like to my sister, sorry, I just all over the place. This is how I talk. There's a guy that's apparently, if it's true, there's a security guard that's handing out backstage passes to underage girls. So we probably shouldn't go earlier. We ended up being late anyway. We got a taxi. It took ages to, then we lost my sister, and then so we ended up getting, but obviously at the time we didn't know we were going to be late. So I was just like really concerned that I was going to be chosen, and just kind of like very self-absorbed, like, oh, he's only going to be looking at me, which is obviously really wrong. But still, you know, like I said, that's the first thing you think about. What if it happens to me? And so I didn't really want to tell my dad, because I didn't want my dad to think I was obsessed with Julian or something, which I am. And I still haven't told him, because, yeah, he would just probably like, yeah, I just do not want I just don't think it's good. The YouTube is like, you're like the first people to hear about this, honestly. And so I went to my dad, and after like a few weeks, maybe months after, and I said, there was actually some allegations that Julian was actually the only reason he wanted underage girls in Sydney was so he could hook up with them after the show, before the show, whenever. And my dad was like, oh, like my dad is a huge Strokes fan. That's the only reason why I love the Strokes. But my dad was like, yeah, that's really wrong. Like he probably would have done that when he was younger, but that's still, that doesn't give him a right to do it now at like 45. He's going to be 45 this year. He's closer in age to my dad than he is to older girls that he's dated or slept with or had encounters with or whatever. Like you guys, I don't want to believe any of this is true. I genuinely don't. So anyway, sorry again, I went off track, but I'll go back to what they have posted on the Blur page. So they've also said that Mickey Berenyi, if I'm saying that correctly, from Lush, I believe, has said that Graham Coxon actually shoved her down the stairs in like the 90s. So I found that quite disturbing, as a lot of you guys obviously would. I just lost the page again, so I'll go back to it. And then, so Essie says she was an IPV. She stayed on her Instagram bio, which stands for Intimate Partner Violence. So it's kind of like, yeah, she's just having to cover this up because she knows that, like, something, she knows everything, but she just maybe isn't not comfortable speaking out, or she just not legally allowed to or something. So again, there is some really, really, like, this just goes to the frickin' courts, honestly. How is the hell is this band still, like, why? It was a complete insanity to whoever agreed for them to reunite. Like, for first time I'm saying his name, for Damon Albarn to actually agree to this, if he really doesn't really want to get back together with the band, he just shouldn't. Like, how can you just keep performing with someone like this? I'm sorry, Sylvia, I was, like, talking so loudly she left, and rightfully so. Yeah, I might be crazy, I acknowledge that, but it still doesn't give someone the right to. And what's actually scary is this particular message was actually, I know it's a coincidence, but it was posted on my birthday, on my, like, 10th birthday. I was 10 years old. Like, I wasn't the victim here, but I was 10 years old. I don't know how old these people were. This was actually between, obviously, I think the victims or something, but... Sorry, I just need to save something. And if you've watched this far, like, good on you. Like, wow. Thank you so much. You don't even have to agree with me or anything. You can think I'm the most insane person in the world, and I understand that. Like, it's not normal for someone to dig so deep into this, but I just think it's so important that we know about it. Because we can't just let this, if it's on the internet, we can't just let it disappear into obscurity. If it's on the internet for a reason, and that means we have to keep talking about it until something is done. Because I would not know about any of this unless someone was, I'm not trying to put the blame on someone else. Obviously, the real person to blame for all of this starting is Graham Coxon. Like, we all have a right to speak out on this. Because nothing is being done. So I don't care if you in the comments say, just want attention. You need to touch some grass. Whatever. I actually did this morning, thank you. So, it's important. And I'm saying that, like, I can't think of any other words to describe how utterly revolting this is. So I don't really know. It says it's been going on since the mid-2010s, so I don't know how long. So obviously it's been a long time. So, okay, let me just go back. So, I don't know whether I should read the rape allegation. It says it's unverified. But isn't that what all rape allegations are? They're not verified until proven guilty or some shit like that. So I am wholeheartedly going to believe all of these people. Because you're not going to make something like this up. You're not just going to make... Sure, there are people out there, some really... insane people who make stuff like this up, but that's only like 1% of the whole population, or less than like 1%, 0.1%. No, all of this evidence and stuff, it's came from multiple people over the years. Mickey Berenyi testified that he shoved her down the stairs, so he has a history of wrong behaviour. Then there's been some rumours about Damon. So they said that, hey, I heard Damon cheated on Susie, who I'm guessing is his ex-wife. I obviously not going to go deep into that because this is about obviously Graham, but just, and this was supposed to be the biggest band at one point. So he also has a controversial history. He's supported like transphobes and misogynists, which is not surprising, but still, Jordan Peterson and Greg Ellis. I don't know who Greg Ellis is, but I'm familiar with Jordan Peterson. He made a rape joke on Loveline, which I'm guessing is a show. Yeah, there's been more screenshots coming out about his parasocial grooming, which again leads me back to Colleen Ballinger. Her really... Sorry, I keep burping today. I hope that's not too distracting. But I just had a cheese sandwich and I just eat it like so fast. I ate food really quickly. I think I'm probably going to end it here because it's 40 minutes on the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got this far, like, it's just, we really need to keep talking about this. Like, do what you can, share it, the video. I'm not going to be embarrassed. I'll try not to be embarrassed if this gets like 1.1k views. But yeah, I don't really care about the money side of things. I know everyone says that, but these are just really disturbing. So do whatever you can. You can even make your own video talking about this, because in the end, the only reason I'm getting all of this information is thanks to Tumblr's roommate page. Everything is from them. So they've done extensive research. They have interviewed so many victims. Yeah, so for those who have spoken out, I applaud you. Please stay strong. I know it's really difficult. Anyone who's been hurt by this guy, manipulated, mistreated, abused, groomed, just know that you are being heard by so many people who've been in the similar situation. Like, I haven't even gone through any of this stuff, but I still feel that connection, like this sort of thing, a similar sort of thing I've felt, you know? You don't have to go through something to, like, share a similar experience, if that makes sense. So thank you so much. Be good out there and watch out, because I might be doing a video on your band next.